"We're keeping the lake house," my mom announced to the family. My dad didn't look at me. "You don't contribute enough around here." Then he swapped the locks the next day. The following morning, their breakfast tab got declined. By lunch, the bank rang. "Your cosigner pulled authorization," the agent said. Within a full day, foreclosure papers were filed. I had covered the $5,100 monthly mortgage for 7 straight years. But to understand, I need to rewind to 2017. Because the moment my parents shut me out of that property wasn't the real beginning. It started when they made a financial bet they couldn't handle, and I made a quiet decision I never spoke about. I'm Daniel Porter, 35. For the last 7 years, I secretly bankrolled my parents' dream while they treated me like the underachieving son. I grew up in Minneapolis, lower middle class. My dad did taxes. My mom worked in a clinic. My older brother, Kyle, was the star. Football scholarship, fancy MBA, banking job in Chicago, married a lawyer, 2 kids. The golden child. I was the opposite. Quiet, into coding instead of sports. I studied computer science at the University of Minnesota and landed a software gig at a health tech firm. Starting salary, $72,000. Kyle pulled down $280,000. Every holiday, the comparisons stung. Kyle's bonus hit 6 figures, Dad would say. "That's nice," I'd reply. "How's your job, Daniel?" "Good. Interesting projects." "Still at the same place?" "Yes. I like it." "Well, stability matters too." Translation: You're not good enough. Kyle bought an $890,000 house in Evanston. My mom posted it everywhere. I rented a $1,200 one-bedroom in Minneapolis. No proud Facebook posts about that. In 2017, my parents decided to buy a lake house on Lake Minnetonka. They were both 58, thinking about retirement. A 3-bedroom cabin on 2 acres, private dock, great views, built in 1995. Price, $685,000. "It's perfect," Mom said at dinner. "Our legacy." "Can you actually afford it?" Kyle asked. "We'll stretch," Dad admitted. "But we'll manage." "What's the monthly?" I asked. "About $5,100 with taxes and insurance." I did the math. Their combined income was around $140,000. That payment ate over 40% of their gross. "Too tight." "That's heavy," I said carefully. "We know," Dad snapped. We crunched the numbers. Kyle jumped in. "You deserve this. I can help with the down payment if needed." "That's sweet," Mom said, "but we've got $140,000 saved. The loan will be $545,000. They closed in June 2017. Weekends at the lake became their whole identity. The sunsets are unreal. We saw a bald eagle. The dock is perfect. I was glad for them. But by October, cracks appeared. Dad called me privately. "Daniel, the mortgage is strangling us. We've dipped into savings twice already. We might have to sell." "Have you talked to Kyle?" "He's swamped. Kids are expensive. We don't want to burden him." "But you'll burden me," I thought. "What do you need?" I asked. "Nothing. Just venting." I thought for 3 days. Then I called First National Bank. "I want to make a payment on my parents' mortgage." "Are you on the loan?" "No, but I'm their son. We can take payments from anyone, but no account access unless you're a cosigner." "Then make me a cosigner." 6 weeks of credit checks, paperwork, and legal hoops. By December 2017, my name was on the deed and the loan. I set up autopay, $5,100 monthly starting January 2018. I didn't tell them. I just paid, month after month. January, February, all through 2018. My parents never mentioned money trouble again. At dinners, they bragged about figuring out the budget. They thought they were paying. On a $72,000 salary, a $5,100 payment was brutal. My take-home was about $4,400. I was losing $700 each month. I drained savings. I took freelance coding work nights and weekends, scraping an extra $2,000 to $2,500 monthly. Barely enough. I stopped going out, stopped traveling, lived on cheap groceries. My rent was $1,200. Mortgage $5,100. Freelance covered the gap. Nothing left over. At lake house gatherings, my parents would say, "We're so glad we didn't sell. It's all about smart planning." Kyle would nod. "You guys are great with money." I sat quietly, eating food they thought they'd paid for. In 2019, I got promoted to senior engineer, $105,000. I could finally breathe. Still, I kept paying $5,100 every month. They never knew. During COVID in 2020, I worked remotely and saved more. Freelance boomed. By 2021, I made $125,000 from my day job plus $35,000 freelancing. Around $155,000 total. The mortgage wasn't painful anymore, just annoying. But I kept the secret. Because my parents genuinely believed they deserved that house. They thought they'd sacrificed. Kyle thought they were geniuses. And I was still just Daniel, the quiet, unmarried son who made decent money but not Kyle money. Meanwhile, I was funding their entire dream. Summers, they'd semi-retire at the lake. Dad consulted part-time. Mom worked 3 shifts a week. They'd invite us up. Kyle got the master bedroom. I got the smallest room. One evening in 2022 on the deck, Kyle said, "This place is an incredible investment. Values are up 30%. It's worth about $890,000 now." Dad beamed. "We've gained over $200,000 in equity." I thought, "I've paid $306,000 into this. Every dollar of equity is mine." "You must be so proud," Kyle's wife said. "We are," Mom replied. "We took a bold risk. That's the difference between people who succeed and those who play it safe." She glanced at me. "Playing it safe has its merits," I said quietly. "Does it?" Dad asked. "Sometimes you need to build something bigger than yourself." I had built this. I had taken the risk. They didn't know. In August 2024, my parents called a family meeting at the lake house. "We're doing estate planning," Dad said. "We want to talk about who gets the property when we're gone. We've decided to leave it to you," Mom said. Kyle looked shocked. "Really? That's generous." "You have a family," Mom explained. "Kids who'll enjoy it. Daniel is welcome to visit, of course." "Daniel, you understand, right?" Dad asked. "You're not married. No kids." "I understand," I said slowly. "Can I ask how much is left on the mortgage?" Dad checked his phone. "About $387,000. We've been paying it down. Should be gone by the time we're 75. "And you're leaving Kyle a house with a mortgage?" "No, it'll be mostly paid off by then." "What if something happens before that?" "We'll figure it out. We always have." "Have you?" Something in my voice made everyone freeze. "What does that mean?" Dad asked. "How much do you think you've actually paid on this mortgage for the last 7 years?" "We've made every payment on time," Dad said defensively. "Have you?" "Check your bank statements. Your actual account. See how much you've paid." Dad pulled out his phone and scrolled. His face went pale. "There are no mortgage payments showing here." "Because you haven't made any," I said quietly. "I have. Every month since January 2018. $5,100. That's $428,400 over 7 years." The deck went silent. Kyle stared. "You've been paying their mortgage?" "Yes. Because in October 2017, Dad called me panicking. They couldn't afford it. I became a co-signer and started paying." Mom's hand flew to her mouth. "That's impossible. I'm on the deed. I'm on the loan. Call the bank." Dad frantically scrolled more. "The statements just show payment received." I assumed it was our auto pay. "You're welcome, by the way," I said. "For the $428,400. For saving your dream house while you lectured me about taking risks." "We didn't know," Mom whispered. "You didn't ask. Just like you never asked if I could afford it. You accepted the payments and took credit." Kyle looked at our parents. "You let him pay for 7 years and never noticed?" "We thought we were paying." "How?" I asked. "How did you think you could afford a $5,100 payment on your income? Did you never wonder why your bank balance wasn't dropping?" Silence. "Daniel, we'll pay you back," Dad said quickly. "With what?" You have maybe $80,000 saved. You owe $387,000. You can't pay me back. Then we'll figure something out. No, you won't. Because I'm stopping the payments. Mom went white. You can't. We'll lose the house. Maybe you should have thought about that before leaving it to Kyle. Kyle stood up. Wait. If Daniel's been paying, then he should get the house. He doesn't have a family, Mom argued. He doesn't need it. He's paid over $400,000. Kyle shouted. We didn't ask him to. I stood, voice rising. You called me in 2017 panicking. You were going to lose this place. So I sacrificed for 7 years. And now you're giving it to Kyle because I'm single. Dad reached for me. Daniel, let's talk calmly. I've been calm for 7 years. While you gave Kyle the master bedroom and me the smallest room. While you lectured me about playing it safe. I was funding your entire life. We'll make you co-owner with Kyle, Mom offered. I don't want to share. I want you to admit this house exists because of me. We admit it. We're grateful. 5 minutes ago you were leaving it entirely to Kyle. Kyle's wife stood. We should go. No, stay, I said. You should know that your financially savvy in-laws haven't made a single mortgage payment in 7 years. Enough, Dad said firmly. It's not nearly enough. Do you know what I gave up? I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment for 7 years. Worked freelance every night. No social life. No vacations. Because I was paying for your dream. We're sorry, Dad said. We should have asked questions. Yes, you should have. What do you want? Kyle asked. I want you to understand, this house isn't yours. It's mine. My name is on the deed. My credit is on the loan. My money paid for it. So, what are you going to do? Mom asked, voice shaking. I'm going to stop paying. Starting next month. You either pay it yourselves or the bank forecloses. I walked inside, grabbed my bag, and headed for my car. Kyle followed. I had no idea. If I'd known. You would have what? Offered to help? You make 3 times what I do. But you never asked how they were affording it. No, he admitted. I didn't. Because everyone assumed. Except me. I was living it. I drove away. The next morning at a diner, their debit card declined. Then their credit card. Dad called the bank. Our cosigner removed authorization for automatic deposits, the agent said. Your balance is only what you personally deposited. By noon, the bank called about the missed mortgage payment. Dad checked their balance, $8,200. If they paid the $5,175 due, they'd have $3,025 left for 2 weeks. They called Kyle. He loaned them $5,000 at 5% interest. They made September's payment. But October came. They couldn't pay. Kyle refused to help again. Sell the house. Downsize. By November, they were 30 days late. By December, 60 days late. The bank started foreclosure. Mom called me crying. We're going to lose everything. You're losing a house you couldn't afford. We'll sign it over to you. Just start paying again. Why? So you can live there for free while I drain my finances. We're your parents. And I'm the son you were giving nothing to. Remember? The house was going to Kyle because I don't have a family. We were wrong. You only see it because you're losing the house. Not because you value me. In January 2025, the bank foreclosed. My parents moved to a small 2-bedroom condo for $1,800 a month. The lake house sold at auction for $745,000. After legal fees and penalties, $312,000 remained. I hired an attorney. I had paid $428,400. My parents had paid $0. We settled. I got $280,000. They got $32,000. They were furious. You're stealing our equity. I'm taking my equity. The equity I built. We'll never forgive you. I can live with that. It's now a year later. I used that $280,000 as a down payment on my own house, a 4-bedroom in a Minneapolis suburb for $520,000. My mortgage is $2,400 a month. Easy on my $145,000 salary. I have a guest room, an office, a yard. Everything I delayed for 7 years. My parents live in their rental condo, bitter and broke. They blame me for ruining their retirement. Kyle and I talk sometimes. He's apologized more than once. Last week, my dad sent an email. Daniel, I've been thinking about the lake house. About those 7 years. You were right. We took advantage of you. We didn't mean to, but we did. We assumed you didn't need recognition or the house or to be valued like Kyle. We were wrong. You sacrificed for 7 years to give us something we couldn't afford. Instead of gratitude, we showed you dismissal. I don't know if you'll forgive us, but I see it now. You're a better man than I gave you credit for. I'm sorry it took losing everything for me to see that. If you're willing, I'd like to rebuild. Love, Dad. I've read it several times. It's the first real apology he's ever given. I don't know if I'll respond. Don't know if I can trust it. But it's something. For 7 years, I paid their mortgage in silence. I watched them take credit for my sacrifice. And when the truth finally landed, when their cards declined, when the bank called, when foreclosure started within 24 hours, they learned what I had known all along. That lake house was never theirs. It was mine. Every sunset. Every summer. Paid for by $5,100 monthly from my account. Now I have my own house. My own equity. My own dream. Built on the $280,000 I recovered from a property I actually paid for. When you take someone's sacrifice for granted, eventually they stop sacrificing. And then you pay the price. All of it.